You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Let's get spooky. This is our station, Boo, where we explore the dark and mysterious corners of the world of horror, and we know that you are dying to listen.
And welcome to the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing our haunted hosties with the mosties. We have a lovely Lisa.
Hi, groovy goolies.
We got our kick-ass Karen.
What up, my horrorholics?
And I am your spooky and kooky Shannon. So welcome to the show. We are going to be talking about the one, the only, Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. So let's get spooky.
Hey, horrorholics. It's time for the Ghastly Report. Stay tuned for all the fun, spine-tingling news happening in horror today, from new releases to spooky events and so much more. Welcome to the Ghastly Report. This is going to kind of be a quick one, but there's a couple fun things going on. First off, if you love Legos and you love the X-Files, there is a new release. So with Monsters, Aliens, Mulder, and Scully. So definitely keep an eye out for those bad boys. I know I'm kind of a big fan of them. So this should be kind of fun. It's exciting. They haven't released any dates yet for when it's going to come out that I have seen, but it is a keep your eye out for it. There is also a fun little project that we're going to need to keep our eyes peeled for. This is going to be from the creators of What We Do in the Shadows. You have Stephanie Robinson, as well as writer and showrunner Taika Waititi, for a new pilot of a beloved Mel Brooks movie, Young Frankenstein. The title is going to be Very Young Frankenstein, and it's going to be a pilot from FX. So this is going to be interesting to see. Mel Brooks has given his blessing, so might be intriguing. I mean, Taika does a great job with comedy, so it could work. It could work. But last but not least, and this one I think is kind of interesting, and we'll definitely have to hear what the girls have to say next week when it comes to this project, which is Last Train to New York. James Wan is a producer on this, and he says that this Train to Busan project, remake type project, is still something he really wants to get out there. Supposedly this is taking place in the same time frame as Train to Busan. It's just what's happening in America versus what is happening in South Korea. So interesting take. Kind of excited to see if it actually gets released. This movie was set to release in April of 2023 and got kind of paused. So here's to hoping James can get it to come out. I know he's been working on a few different projects, and that he's just really excited about a lot of the things that's coming out. And with that, we are wrapping up our Ghastly Report. Now, do remember, we do have our amazing Discord. You should come check it out. Enjoy the conversation. Get all the fun little channels and alerts. And we're starting to put a few little emojis in there as well. On top of all of that, we've got our friends over here at the ESO Network that we'd love for you to come check out. And let's stay spooky. Hey Horrorholics, it's Shannon. Earth Station Boo has just launched its brand new merch store. It's time to get your hands on some killer gear. From our fun logo shirts, cozy hoodies, Let's Get Spooky stickers, and Horrorholics Anonymous totes, there's something for every one of our lovely little ghouls. We offer our spooky designs on many different types of products to fit your desires. But if you happen to see a missed opportunity, just let us know. And unlike most of Stephen King's adaptations, you know what I'm talking about, you won't be disappointed with the quality of the products. Head over to our link tree in our bio, grab your merch, show off your favorite horror podcast, and most of all, let's get spooky.
So what's the best episode of EnterpriseSplaining so far?
When I told you how Captain Archer fell in love with a slug?
No, it was when I told you about how the Ferengi literally created a pile of women.
No. It was when I told you how Hoshi caught a bat in her bare hands.
Wait, these are the best parts?
Well, they're better than hearing Malcolm's love letters.
On EnterpriseSplaining, one of the hosts describes an episode of Star Trek Enterprise to people who have never seen it, and it gets kind of weird.
EnterpriseSplaining, the podcast where we splain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you.
It is time to talk about the movie Five Nights at Freddy's. This is another horror movie that is based off of a video game. Thankfully, though, the creator of the video game was integral in the making of this film. He was involved in every aspect of it, including all the filming he was there for, which I think is kind of cool. So if you guys are not aware of what Five Nights at Freddy's is, or have not heard the term FNaF, it is a video game series created by Scott Cawthon. And it kind of has a complex and cryptic lore. There are multiple video games within the series. The lore does kind of change up a little bit as the game changes and progresses and moves. But overall, it unfolds across multiple games and spin-offs, but at its core, the series kind of exposes or explores haunted animatronics, a dark history of children murders, a sinister legacy of a family-run pizzeria franchise. If you as a child ever had haunting dreams of Chuck E. Cheese, this is your living nightmare. So, with all that, that's kind of like just like an overview. Things get a little bit deeper, but we're going to just talk about the movie itself, which, according to the creators, is going to be based off of the first 3 games. So if you are familiar with the games, keep that in mind when we talk about the movie. We're not going to really compare to the movie too much in this episode, but we want to kind of give you guys we know it's a video game, we know the lore behind the video game, but we're just talking about the movie tonight.
Yeah, because some of us can't, play the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into our initial thoughts. When we watched the movie, what were we thinking? Lisa, you get to start us on that.
Okay, when I watched the movie, what was I thinking? I think that, like I said, it's a fun movie. It's not scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't feel anything, really. I thought it was fun. I love the animatronics. I mean, that was really cool, the practical, but it was a little toned down from my roommate, who's a big fan, from what she's told me about it. So I was expecting a little bit darker. So that's my impression. It was a fun movie. That's about it. It was cool.
Okay.
Not scary.
Karen?
I mean, it's a good movie to introduce yourself, to introduce people who don't know what Five Nights at Freddy's is, especially if you can't, play the game because you don't have the equipment to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
My niece, she enjoyed the movie, and she enjoys the whole lore, and we were watching the movie together. I did it secretly because her mom didn't want her to watch it, but I'm the auntie. And she was like, "That's not how it happens in this lore." And then she goes on this tangent about the lore, and I'm like, can we just enjoy the movie? I mean, I enjoyed it for what it is. It's not, horror scary for me. It didn't, I'm not afraid of animatronics, okay? It's fun. They're fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to do haunted houses, like, haunted attractions like I do, this is great to see.
Yeah.
I just love, going to places like that. And they say, hey, look at the animatronic. And I always wonder, how did they do that? Because the thought really never crosses your mind like, oh, they're going to kill me. Because my thought is, oh, they're trapped in here with me, not the other way around.
Yeah, I saw it. I think I actually saw it I think I actually got Peacock just so I could watch it. Either it or Poker Face. One of the two is the reason I got Peacock. And so I watched it like as soon as it came out. It was good. I really enjoyed it. I was like, okay, this is fun. It's got a good story. It's got some spooky aspects to it. Would I call it like, a Fright Night type thing where, all right, I really want like a spooky, scary movie to like kind of chill me to my bones. No, like that's not going to be this film, but it's got some darker tones to it that I was like, okay, cool. And I do think the balance between the comedy and the fun kookiness of like pizzeria animatronics, I think does balance out with what horror is in there. I do think it also sits more on the psychological side because of like the true crime aspect of the kids being murdered and the kidnapping of the brother and like all that kind of stuff. So it's like the horror aspects it has isn't necessarily like jump scare. But I think the way that the animatronics kind of worked through the film, it was kind of cool. Kind of spooky at times, especially when, you're looking at it going, there's like a dead child in there. That's kind of weird.
I mean, it could be weird, but at the same time, it really didn't have that whole, yeah, it had that true crime aspect for it, me.
Mhm.
But the thing is, I
Yeah.
wasn't psychologically scared. You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
think it was like a psychological and like you yourself feel the psychological trauma. I think it's something more like you can empathize.
I mean, yeah, I
If
could,
that makes sense.
sympathize, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, so you have a soul of something inside this animatronic. Cool. Now let's dismantle it to figure out how that worked. That'll be me. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, you're
Yeah.
trapped in, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. You don't know what I could do.
See, this is when
Yeah,
I'm going because all of us are going, it's not really scary. I honestly think we're like desensitized.
That's true.
Because like granted, like when I go to Halloween Horror Nights all the time, and when I go, I kid you not, I'm the girl who like walks through and is like, oh my God, that's a really cool effect. You did so good at jumping out and scaring people. Good job. Like I'm like the one who's like happy go lucky through the thing. Like you go through a scare zone and somebody comes up and they get like right into your face. You're like, good job, high five. Like my friend
Yeah.
who comes with me, she does the whole scrunch up and screams and it's like kind of thing, and she just like laughs at me. She goes, "They never jump out and scare you," and I'm like, "Because I don't get scared." Like,
I think it's just because we're more aware of our surroundings, really.
true.
And
True.
like when it comes to like movies like Five Nights at Freddy's, we're aware
Mm-hmm.
of what could happen. Like in our
Yeah.
minds, already prickling. Like, okay, this is what could happen. What's this? And then
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of like
I ruined so
Yeah.
many movies for people the first time I watch it because I'm like, oh, that's the killer, and they're like, how do you know that? And I'm just like, well, it's obvious. And they're like, no, it's not. And then I'm like, I pause the movie and then I give my full explanation on why I think this person's the killer, and they're like, you just ruined the entire movie for me. I'm like, well, then don't argue with me when I say these things. Just be like, yeah, Shannon, and then just like wait for it to unfold.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't ask me to explain it
Yeah,
because I will. Yeah. So this film is based off of a video game franchise. We talked about the lore just a little bit, but when you dive in to everything, how do you think Five Nights at Freddy's translates what we kind of like we did our research on, translates all that into the backstory for this film, particularly the terms in like the shift between the psychological horror and the jump scares? Like, does the movie actually like kind of capture the essence of the game while kind of expanding its lore as well as like appeasing newcomers and long-term fans of the franchise?
to be honest, it's hard to capture like a video game into movie format
Mm-hmm.
because they're just two different platforms. I mean, you could try. I mean, there's plenty of video games that turn into movies, and you're like, you get a taste of it, but you're like, eh. Even with, I enjoyed Five Nights at Freddy's for what it was, but I did not get the sense of horror when watching it. Because, like I said, it's not the same as, playing the video game.
Yeah.
I played plenty of horror video games, but when you watch the movie, counterpart, you're like, oh, it's just missing something.
Mm-hmm.
But, it expands the lore a bit and it introduces you, if you're not a video game player, it introduces you to what's happening in the story, in the world, in the Five Nights at Freddy world. So it does a good job of telling you the story. It just doesn't give you the jump scares that you would get in a horror game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't give you that unease that you get in a horror game. It's just something about, trying to translate it.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss. You're either going to be like, yay, it's pretty good, but, or it's like, oh, And I know that, because we know that one director that does a lot of game to movies. House of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa, how about you?
I think if you're not familiar with FNaF or Five Nights at Freddy's, I think it gives you kind of a nice background to get started.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the jump scares and the feeling of horror, I agree 100% with Carrot. I was more like, oh, this is pretty cool, than more, oh my God, it's coming to get me, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely a good start for someone who isn't familiar with the game or the novels or whatever. It's a good start if you want to start somewhere.
Okay.
I liked it. I mean, it was a fun movie for me.
Yeah. This definitely is a great intro to the franchise if you've never played the games. I think the tone of the games into the film, I don't think you can really ever like make the game jump scares and then like an on-screen jump scare the same, because there's too much you have to show in the movie that you don't have to show while playing the video game, personally. But I do think that the lore is great, and I think it's perfect for newcomers, like, because it sucks you in, because you're like, oh my God, I gotta know more about William Afton, like, what the fuck? And like, these kids, I need to know more about like how each of these kids died. Like, how did he snag them? What do you mean? Like, this was his place? Like, how does his daughter know? Like, why would she become a cop and not do something about this? And like, all these things, like, it makes you really want to dive in and go further in. And then all the longtime fans are sitting there going, I know, right? Come, like, let's dive into this together. Let us take you to the games. Here, come watch the playthrough on YouTube. Matthew Lillard, actually, in one of his interviews, he's like, at the point that I got the role, I'd never played the game. He goes, so I watched a couple of the playthroughs. He goes, it's a great game. I had a lot of fun watching it. He goes, so I started playing it when we started recording, or we started like filming for this film. And he goes, and even though I only have like essentially 2 small scenes, he goes, it was a lot of fun to like become part of this franchise and to like play the game and have fun with it, and then see like what came from the game into the movie. He goes, I had a lot of fun with it. And so you could see him getting into becoming a longtime fan just from the exposure that he had. We kind of talked about it already. The setting for FNaF is a children's entertainment venue or pizzeria kind of thing. You have a stage with the animatronics and they play songs. Do you think this venue actually build more suspense and unease, or do you think it was kind of half-assed? Does like the film effectively give you like that chilling atmosphere and the tension for like the setting that it has? Because I mean, it's not a normal setting for a horror film.
No, I think any closed area, it can be very creepy, because this movie takes place primarily in one area. Yeah, you have him at his house and, dealing with his sister, but you have this whole playground almost, this pizzeria.
Yeah.
This knockoff Chuck E. Cheese or something. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does build that little unease because something's supposed to be fun and happy. but it's not really fun and happy because you have these animatronics that's weird. They don't look fun and happy. They just look weird. Because most animatronics I've seen in pizzerias are fun and happy.
Yeah.
These look kind of run down and dirty and just...
They look sad.
They look sad. They need love. They need like somebody to like, clean them up. So that makes it uneasy for some people because you're supposed to be in a happy, safe place. But you're not in a happy, safe place because there's danger all around. So this is what,
like tetanus. Honestly, like when I first saw the place as they were kind of going through it, I'm like, if you cut yourself on anything in here, you better go get a tetanus shot. I don't care that you just got one last year. You need a booster.
You need something.
Something.
The only thing, old dude was doing, Mike was doing, was just sitting there, watching the, screens and
taking a nap,
patrolling the area. But still, it's just kind of disconcerting because you're by yourself. Usually when there's a night watch, there's other people helping you watching such a big location. But no, you're like, I think I'll play on my phone or something. No. Can you imagine that, just being by yourself? No. I mean, I could probably be myself in, the cemetery cleaning up the graves, but if I'm getting paid like, $800 an hour, yeah, I'll be chilling with the ghost too. But I'm not sure how much he was getting paid. They
not
didn't say
enough.
They didn't tell him, like, if they tell me like you're getting paid this much amount, okay.
I think when he asked originally, he was like, how much is this gonna like pay? And he's like, not a lot.
Yeah. I'm like,
and it's like, ooh, not a lot, and it's overnight. I understand why he said, nah, peace out.
Am I getting night diff at least? I mean, but I understood why he did it because he needs the money to take care of his sister. And but at the same time, I'm like, am I the only one here? I mean, you see how big this place is, right?
Yeah.
You had the police officer patrolling, but that was about it.
Yeah. And the police officer was only patrolling because she was hiding secret. Lisa, how about you?
I think it definitely added to the like we talk about closed spaces, it definitely added to that atmosphere to it. I mean, you don't want to cut yourself on it, anything. And the way that the electricity was come on and off every once in a while also added to it because it was like, ooh, am I going to get electrocuted? What's that noise? When you're by yourself and when you were in the kitchen, you're like, oh my God. And it was kind of, it definitely added to a very unnerving closed space area. And then all the weird noises and stuff that you hear, like the place settling and stuff. So yeah, I think it did a good job because it is supposed to be a happy place. And yes, the robots, the animatronics do look creepy. And then he found the part where all the dead ones were, the animatronics that were pieces. Yeah, that's unnerving. You're by yourself in this dark place. Yeah. And you see all this stuff. So yeah, I think it did contribute to the atmosphere a lot.
Yeah. I think.
And the foreboding.
Yeah. I think the setting of an abandoned children's entertainment place definitely adds almost like I don't want to say uncanny valley, but it's kind of along those lines of like, this isn't right. Something's off. Something's wrong. Like you walk in and your gut goes, get the fuck out of here. Like there's a reason for it. With it being dark and gloomy and with it, the creepy sounds and of course, like the animatronics where, you look at them and you can see that they're in disrepair and are nowhere near what they were in their heyday kind of thing. And so I think the whole ambiance is, I think it did kind of give you like a chilling atmosphere. And I do think it kind of put you on edge for all the scenes that were in those spots because, you were trying to be mindful about what was happening.
And also, when you look how dilapidated and everything it is, you kind of start smelling what it might smell like in there. So you're smelling mold and rust and all that kind of stuff. So I think that also added to it. Because I swear, I was like, do you smell mold? Because it did that well that it affected me like that. Because I was like, ugh.
Yeah. And actually, funny enough, it was an abandoned hospital in Louisiana that they turned into Freddy's.
Ew.
Now, was it an abandoned hospital for like a long time or was it during Katrina?
It was caused by Katrina.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a hospital that got damaged because of Katrina and then was abandoned.
That's haunted. It's probably haunted.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Let's talk animatronics, which were practical effects. How do you think the filmmakers really balanced that eeriness with yet the endearing nature that these animatronics are supposed to have? And how do we feel about like how they interacted with the humans? Because like that was like a whole thing, especially like when they were building the fort. And, you know, do you think the way that the animatronics were used throughout the film really helped like with the fear factor portion? Or like how do you feel like it pushed the story with these animatronics? Which, fun enough, were actually made by the Jim Henson Company. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
And three of them were actually run by humans. One, Foxy was the only one that was not run by a human, but that's because it's missing an arm, and then there's like a big hole that they would have to do like green screen stuff, and they wanted to stay away from the CGI. So
good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was the only like true animatronic, and by animatronic it was like 6 different people that had to work together to make him move and do the things that he wanted or they wanted him to do. And then Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy were all stunt people. So, but what do we think about the animatronics as a whole? Like, they're creepy but endearing. They have these like interactions with like the human characters and just their overall impact on the story. Lisa, since you're our special effects lady.
I thought the animatronics were beautiful. The way they were worked and everything was fantastic. I liked the way they interacted with everybody until the part where they were making the fort. I know they were children and all that. I think that took away, honestly, I think it took away from the horror. It was cute, but it still took away from the horror.
Okay.
Because like when I heard the one thing where his sister was playing with him and like I heard her doing that and they were surrounding her, I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to get something really creepy. And then, they're all playing like children. And I get it. She's a kid and they're ghost children, but it was just, I don't know any friendly ghost children in all the horror movies that I've watched all these years. I think that took away from it a little bit, to be honest with you. But as far as the way they worked and everything, and I love the cupcake, that's my favorite. I think they did a really dynamite job at making these animatronics work the way they did. But like I said, the fort thing, that kind of threw me off because I was really getting into it. And then it's happy time. And it just, to me, it took away from the flow of the movie.
Gotcha.
I mean, for me, it like added a sense of innocence to the movie because they were children at one point.
Yeah.
And they still thought of themselves as children when they saw, Abby. But at the same time, you knew that something bad was going to happen because of the fact that they are ghost thingies, possessed animatronics, okay? You knew something bad was going to happen because you already saw the fact that they, were willing to kill people. I mean, they killed like those guys, the babysitter, her brother,
babysitter, her brother, and friends,
or something like that.
Yeah.
I like the little cupcake thing. But for me, it added a layer of of complexity to the animatronics. Like, oh, they can, feel human for like or innocent for a second because they were children. But I actually enjoyed what they did with the animatronics. I like the fact that they were kind of worn, played with. So it brought a sense of realism to it because if you see an animatronic that if it's looking new and pristine in this rundown place, I'm going to be very, very weary of that one. But others, not so much. But that one,
Yeah.
So it added, the way they fit the whole pizzeria aspect. Good. Just don't get cut.
Yeah. I actually like that. The fort building scene, I actually liked because it showed, especially when you compare it to literally moments later when they were trying to kill Mike and trying to kidnap Abby and make her one of them. essentially. One of us, one of us. It showed the control that Afton had on them, because only Afton would have made them do that, because they seemed quite content to just sit there and play with her and just to enjoy her company. It wasn't until Afton was like, no, she's going to become one of you, that like they switched. And I think it worked with like how the bunny held power over the children. So I think it worked in the storytelling. I think the way that they interacted with everybody kind of worked. There is a part of me who kind of didn't like the fact that they didn't quite warm up to Mike. And it's one of those like, but you can see that Mike loves Abby and you can see that Mike wants to take care of Abby. Why would you not, like, in essence, treat him like you do Vanessa?
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously, this is a good adult. Like, this is an adult who's willing to protect, you know, this little child. And so that, like, that's where I was kind of like, I don't know. But then I have to, like, keep reminding myself, like, okay, was that when Afton was starting to take control of the children again?
And not only that, like, wasn't one of the robots his brother? Like, animatronics' his brother?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, he felt like he could feel his brother there. And depending on which lore you look at, his brother could be there, just not attached to any of the animatronics.
Okay.
I want to say the animatronics are like, I think in the lore, it's Williams and Henry's kids. And then like, I think somebody else that they kidnap. But no, his brother isn't technically one of the animatronics. Rumor has it in the second one, his brother will be in there somewhere. But it's rumored. There's not a whole lot of confirming receipt information on it.
That's because it's like still in the works, you know.
Yeah. I think it's in post-production currently, since it's supposed to be released in December. Which, yes, guys, FNaF 2 is coming out December 5th of 2025.
I wish I could be part of the test audience.
Right? Me too.
Me too.
Alrighty. Let's continue on with all the breaking down of this movie. Because it's got a lot of stuff to it.
Yeah, it does.
We talked about the animatronics. We talked about the lore. We talked about the setting, the vibe of the film. So let's get into the cast and the performance of the main characters in Five Nights at Freddy's, which includes Mike Schmidt, who is the main character for the film. Did the actors bring enough depth and emotional weight to their roles? Did the film focus on developing the characters or trying to be scary and sometimes funny? Were there any standout performances that like made the story what it is? Are there any characters that you guys felt could have been explored further? Are you hoping there's a character that will get explored further in sequels? Just overall, the cast and the characters. What are your guys' thoughts? Karen, I'm sure you have some things you would like to share.
You know, I really wasn't particularly, you know, attached to any of the characters. Maybe it's because, you know, I don't know the full lore of, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's, but I really didn't feel any particular attachments to any of the characters. The actors did a good job at bringing the characters to life, but it kind of fell flat almost. Like it was like a job. I would like to see explore more of each character, especially, you know, Matthew Lillard's character.
Will Afton.
Steve. Yeah.
Steve was his like fake name.
Oh.
His real character name is Will Afton, who went by Steve Ragan as like a name to like cover up the fact that he was Will Afton, who owned a restaurant that had a ton of kids getting kidnapped and murdered.
Yeah, weirdness. Kind of reminds me of Willy's Wonderland. But, you know, I want to see more to the characters.
We'll see more of him.
Or of him. I want to see a little bit more. Like, yeah, I get the story of Mike, who's trying to find his brother because he felt like he caused his brother's disappearance. I want to see a little bit more in depth with him. Because I know we could do a deep dive in that whole, you know, story arc right there.
Yeah.
Abby's still, you know, a little bit too young. You already know her story because she's like, oh, you're young.
Yeah.
You want to know more about Vanessa? Like, why? Why, Vanessa? Why?
Yeah.
So those three characters I would love to see more in depth.
Yeah.
Like, give me something.
Yeah. Lisa, how about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Karen. I mean, I love Matthew Lillard. I would have liked to see him more in the suit, a lot more, because when he was in the suit, he did a fantastic job. It's the crazy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the characters fell flat because you couldn't empathize with it. You could, but just at the surface level, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I liked Abby. She was easy. But Mike and Vanessa, Vanessa was, I liked her, but it's like I couldn't get into her. I wanted to be like, well, why are you hiding secrets more? And why are you just even tone and not like more mysterious about everything? With Mike, I got the fact that, he was like suffering and he had these dreams and everything. And I felt empathy for him, but I would have liked more. I agree. I would have liked to get into depth. I mean, I know in the lore there's more depth, but I would have liked a little bit more attachment to the characters in the movie.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not a huge Hutchinson fan. I don't think he's a bad guy. He's had some roles that he's done a fantastic job with. I just think overall, he's mid-tier for me when it comes to acting. And I feel bad saying that, but he was kind of one note throughout the entire film. Like when he was chasing after his brother, it was like, oh man, no, not Garrett. Instead of being like, no, it was my brother. I didn't feel the anxiety and the nervousness and like the oh shitness that like one would feel or express in those moments. And then like even when he was trying to like save Abby, it was very much like a come on, we gotta go. And it's like, did you Botox your personality? Like, get in there, move. Like, I don't know how else to tell you to like just do more. And Vanessa, again, I kind of felt like she constantly was holding back. I will say I loved her scene with Afton when she was fighting him. I felt like that had more emotion behind it and like charge with it. I want more Afton. And I know that he's going to be in the second film, and I already heard rumors that there's going to be a big chunk that's going to have him involved, which I'm perfectly happy with because I loved his character and I did want more of his character, but I also understood why he wasn't as involved in this one with them knowing they're making, I think Lillard has a 3-film contract with them for FNaF.
Yeah,
so
I believe so.
So
Yeah,
it's one of those, there's going to be, he has time to tell his story. And I do love an interview I saw with him. He's like, yeah, they kind of explained it to me because I read it and I was like, I only have 2 small scenes. This is like a week's worth of work. Is it really going to be worth my time and my energy? And they go, you're going to be the Voldemort of this franchise. And he's like, oh, okay.
I could do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might not be like a huge, massive character in each film, but I'm going to be integral to the story. Okay, I'm in.
It's kind of like his character in Scream, though. It's like, he was in the first movie, but you also feel his presence in the other sequels because him and his friend started it.
Yeah, yeah. And he's coming back for Scream 7, so Stu's not dead.
I mean, yeah, we didn't see what happened to him,
I mean, having one of those old school like TVs falling on your head, you should be dead, especially with how much blood loss he had already suffered. However, it's a horror movie. It's fictional. He could bounce back.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would love to have more. I do think the performances weren't as great as they could be. I don't think it takes away from the story too much, but it does make it so it's harder for you to feel and be connected to certain characters. Like Mike, cool dude, whatever. But like at the end of the day, I'm just like, just save your sister, you dumbass. Like,
yeah.
As a sibling and as an aunt, I'm gonna be doing everything I can to save like emotional. Oh, you don't know emotional. Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be a Diary of a Mad Black Woman up in there. Okay. Yeah. I don't know emotional. I mean,
Yeah.
Save your sister, okay? At least show some emotional for your sister, okay?
Yeah.
Have some mental breakdown right there, okay? I would.
Yeah. Cry.
Yeah. And it's just one of those, well, I will say this. I think because of the mental trauma that he himself is going through, there is going to be some emotional numbness. But like in your dream state, you shouldn't have that emotional numbness. And when in crisis, you won't have that numbness in the way that he had it.
Yeah.
And so like it just, like I said, he's not a horrible actor. He's just kind of mid-tier for me. And so, just kind of
He has a long way to come. He has a long way to go. I know he's been acting since the 2000s, but he has a long way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, this a little bit of Matthew in the whole movie had more impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the industry as a whole doesn't really see Matthew as a great actor. He is.
He is.
He absolutely is. Which I will have a whole episode on him. We will have a whole episode on him that actually will be releasing next week. So, so just stay tuned for us to just rant and rave about Matthew. But yeah, I need more stuff. I also felt like they almost like were circling the drain about Mike being upset about his brother's kidnapping, but it wasn't like a progressive like downward spiral. It was very much like a, is it draining kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like NASCAR. Left turn. Left turn.
It's like how many times do you have to tell us that he was supposed to watch his brother and his brother got kidnapped? Like I get like re-showing it because that's his continuous nightmare, but it was even outside of that conversation, like outside of those scenes, that conversation just kept cycling. Like every time he talked with the aunt, it was, well, you like, I don't know. I just felt like it was like, okay, can you move on? We understand. We grasp the concept. A child fucked up. Like a child should not have been watching his brother. Like, I don't understand why the parents couldn't have been watching the other child.
Why didn't he yell for his parents when he was running after the car that, Mom, Dad, we're losing my,
Well, I mean, again, it's a child. Like,
yeah, but they're still going to call for their parents.
Or he froze. Mm-hmm. It's fight or flight, and really it's actually fight, flight, or freeze. He froze. And I mean, like I said, I'm not blaming him for like the kid getting kidnapped. He was a child himself. He shouldn't have been watching his little brother at a campsite like that. Like, that's just, what are you doing? But like, I don't know. It's just one of those deals of like, okay, we've seen it a million times now. You've replayed it a million times. Skip to the end.
Let's just stop draining. Let's stop talking about the same message. He messed up.
Yeah.
Now let's focus on his sister.
Mm-hmm. You never really understand what her whole trauma thing is.
No, you don't.
Like I'm assuming it's the parents like died in a car accident or something like that. I don't remember. And I feel like they said it in the movie. I just kind of, I don't know. I guess that's a moment when I kind of glaze over. But like they don't talk about like the fact that she's having to see a special doctor and he's having to take care of her, and like the aunt's fighting for custody. Give us a little bit more of that kind of stuff, especially since you had a great actress playing the aunt, who, I won't lie, I really do hope she's dead because I really did not like her.
Oh no, I didn't
like the character itself. I was like, she is horrible. Why can't you be the, hey Mike, what do you need me to do to help you? Like, do you need me to babysit her? Do you need me to pay for like a sitter so that way you can like go to work? Like, what can I do to assist you in raising your sister? If she was really family and really cared, it wouldn't be about the custody issue.
No, it wouldn't have.
Right.
It would be, but what can we do to work together for her best interest?
The only reason why she wanted to like take care of the sister was greed. Because wasn't he supposed to be getting like a monthly check?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he got a monthly check. I mean, and obviously, like he said, like the only reason she's fighting is because she wants the monthly check that I'm getting to raise her, which that's fucked up all in its own right. But if you truly care about this child and the safety of the child, you would be involved no matter what.
True.
So she did a great job because she installed that like fuck you mentality in me.
Yep.
I was like, I don't like you.
As an aunt, that like hurt me a little bit. I was like, you're supposed to be taking care of your niece and nephew.
Right?
What the hell are you doing?
Like, I don't even like kids, but
it's like, I will be trying everything in my power to make sure, Mike, do you have everything you need? Do you have money?
Yeah.
Do you need me to come over and babysit? I'll do that.
Yeah.
I was like, do you want me to fight these animatronics? I will fight them.
Like, I put up with a toddler's tantrum because I love my niece. And I don't do children. Children are a no-go for me. A child starts crying, I walk the other direction. I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with that. But it's my niece, and so I'm like, what? Actually, she thinks it's kind of funny sometimes because I'm just like, do you think that's gonna work? I put her on her toes because she doesn't know what she's gonna get. She's like, my normal tactics of getting what I want do not work with this one.
Stare at him.
I'm just like, dude, if you're chill, like, we'll do whatever. The second you start acting crazy, nah, we're gonna peace out, Cub Scout.
I will say the actress who played the aunt did trigger me a little bit because she reminded me of my first ex-mother-in-law.
Oh,
same mentality. Same mentality. Yeah, you have no idea. But so I was like, worse than Monster. Yeah, exactly. And the control issue. She wanted all the control so she could be in control. And she did a great job. I mean, I was really impressed. It hit me, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I know what that's about. Yeah. So I think she did an excellent job.
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely moved on from her Tawanda days, but...
Oh, yeah.
Her what days?
Tawanda. She was the same person who played Iggy in Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Which is one of my favorite movies.
Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah. So obviously, this is not the first video game to movie adaptation. Because there's so many, especially in the horror genre. But what do you guys think about FNaF for the future of video game adaptations in cinema? Do you think that this could be kind of like a start of a new era for films? Or do you think like it's going to still kind of struggle like a lot of the other ones have?
So, game movies. Okay, so we have a whole list of game movies that came out. I mean, we had Silent Hill, Resident Evil, and its offshoots. Now we have Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, so there's always going to be a game movie. Are they going to be good? Are they going to be entertaining? Yeah, some of them. Not House of the Dead. But, Five Nights at Freddy's, because people love it. People love the lore. Yeah, it's going to get, you want more of it. It's not like The Last of Us. What makes The Last of Us different than the movies is because it's a series.
Yeah.
You could expand on, in each episode. The movies, you have to take so much and put it into 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay? So much, 2 hours. And because, they're doing 3 movies, I think that's a good number because of the fact that you'll get more information, more of the lore with 3 movies. And it's only focusing on the first 3 games. However, after that, yeah, we're still going to get horror game movies.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We're going to get game movies.
And there could be more FNaF movies.
Yeah.
After the original 3. I mean, the series has gone on for quite a while already. So there could be more installments of FNaF. It's just that the first 3 movies are kind of based off of the first 3 games, supposedly.
Better if they did what The Last of Us did. Do a series. Series, expand on things, get to know characters, get to know the animatronics.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always going to be game movies. Because people want to see it as a movie. I mean, I don't know why. Let's play the game. But so not House of the Dead. Don't watch House of the Dead.
But do you think that this could encourage more game to movie adaptations where it kind of almost becomes like a subgenre that is going to like encapsulate its own like age or era in horror history?
In a way, it can, but it's going to be clumped together with other game movies,
Yeah.
not just horror games. There's like a whole list of like, like I said, game to movies, Street Fighter,
Mario,
but Taken. But if they Sonic, yeah. So it can be its own little niche if it's done right. Sonic was pretty good. I have to say, I think it was because of Jim Carrey, really.
It's hard to hate his movies.
It is really hard. I mean, he's very adaptable to what he does, and he's been in comedy for forever. So, and the only reason why he came out of retirement is because his grandkids wanted to see the Sonic movies, and it's just you actually have to understand the game and understand your audience to make a very good, entertaining game movie. Yeah, it will continue to be its own little niche until something pops off to make it like its own little error. But yeah, just don't watch House of the Dead. Play the games.
Lisa, how about you? Do you think that FNaF could be part of the reason why we end up having more game adaptations?
Game movies, yes. Honestly, I don't know. I think there's lots of good game movies and there's really bad ones. House of the Dead, good. I think if they stay within the fan base and stick to the story, that it will take off even more. And maybe we'll get a series like what Karen was saying about. I think it would be better off as a series on TV, actually. I'm going to start watching the Silent Hill series pretty soon. I saw the first Silent Hill movie, and it was good because it was for the people who played the game. And I think if FNaF sticks to the people who play the game and stick to the fan base and doesn't go away from it or any of the lore, I think they'll be good. And maybe it'll set a better example for some of the people who want to make game movies. Because it really depends. You have to know your fan base. You have to know the people who play the game. Because some of the games have better movies on them when you're playing than when you're watching the movie in the theater. I mean, to be honest.
I mean, yeah.
Like I said, the Silent Hill first one was for the fans. Second one was not. But anyway, it's just, I think it would be good. I think it's a good start to start making better game movies, to be honest with you. You give them an introduction, you stick to the fan base, you stick to the lore. And if you continue that way, and maybe a mini series or like, The Last of Us, it would probably be better, to be honest with you, because I mean, most game movies actually stink and they don't hail to most of the fan base and all that.
I mean, a lot of the ones that have already happened are very like loosely based off of the game. Like, you might have like a character here or there that's the same. You may have like aspects that are the same, but the story is not.
Yeah, and I think that takes away from the the people who play the games that really want, oh, this would be cool for a convention. I want to dress up like this, and then they show this. And some of the people who, I mean, at least Matthew Lillard played the game and watched the walkthroughs and got into the game, and that's what made him just fantastic, because he had the feeling and he knew what was going on. But I think one of the problems is sometimes the producers, and this, thankfully, FNaF, the creator, was there the whole time. Yeah. And I think that helped a lot. I think a lot of the problems is when they go, oh, we're going to make the game, and they take away everything, and the people don't play the game, and they don't get the feel. They just want to make money. So honestly, I'm hoping that FNaF, is going to start a good trend, and maybe they'll let the creators be on the set and say, no, it doesn't do that. You got to do this. And I don't know if it'll be his own genre or anything, but maybe I think it'll improve the way we see, if we're going to make a movie from a game, I think this will set a good example.
Yeah.
So we'll get better content.
I mean, as a thought, I think it's the fans that drive it, because if you look at the first Sonic, when they brought Sonic the trailer and you saw his eyeballs, you know how many of us like were like, dude, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They changed them, and I
Yeah.
was like, yes. So
Yes.
it depends on the fans too, because if the fans know what's up,
Yeah.
like, hey, no, mm-mm.
Yeah.
So FNaF, it did have a theater release, but it also released on Peacock at the same time. So it did have both streaming and theater. It had a budget of 20 million and it ended up making 291,493,622 gross worldwide. I say that that is a very successful game to movie adaptation. And it does have the fact that the creator had his hands in everything, which for production companies and like the movie people, they hate because it means they can't do what they want. But I think it is also onto the creators of these video games, not just to sell the filming rights away willy-nilly. It is for them to say,
Yeah.
you want to film this, you got to stay connected to the source material. You have to follow the game because otherwise, no. I don't think I would want Five Nights at Freddy's as a series. I think it actually does well as a movie, but I think it needs to be like trilogy like. So like the first 3 games kind of all have the same lore, have 3 movies that match each game for that lore, and then do it subsequently for like the other FNaF installments. Because I think usually they're like 1 or 2 games are kind of like almost like married in the same like overarching story for FNaF. So like do it like that, and I think it'll be fine. I think if you did it as a series with like what our complaints were with the fact that we're like, we get it, your brother got kidnapped, I think we would have even more of that. And I think it'd been too much. I think there's like yeah, if they did like a mini series, I think there would be too much time for them to kind of like waste on all that other stuff, if that makes sense. But I do think that this could help launch more adaptations that are based off of horror indie games or horror games as a whole, because they can see that if it's done correctly, if you have the creator on board, if you can get good practical effects, it can come out really good and it can make a shit ton of money. I mean, to have almost 300 million, like there's non-game movies that don't make that much. So, you know, I think it could spark something, especially since they made it based off of the lore of the games because they were like faithful to the source material. But the world only knows what will come of it. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's true. Because like, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is coming out later this year. And there's other games that are actually coming out, but it's not really, talked about that's coming out this year. If I remember correctly, like there's a game called Until Dawn that's supposed to be coming out.
Yeah,
and that's like
Until Dawn.
That's like a survival horror game or something. So don't know much about it. I just heard about it. This is coming out.
Yeah, I read an article about it like a month ago. I think on iHorror. 2 months ago, maybe. I don't know. I read about it, but I'm a very casual gamer. It's very much like do I have the system that can support it? Yay, nay. Okay, maybe I'm playing it at my friend's house. I do like watching other people play. Like I love going on Twitch and watching streamers play there. I love going on their YouTubes and watching them do full playthroughs on there.
YouTubes. Hey,
Yeah.
I heard that they're making a Legend of Zelda movie.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Actually, there was somebody who they, again, and this is rumored, to have play Link, and like the person looks like Link.
Ooh,
cool.
Yeah, I was like, is this true? If it's true that this person is playing Link, then I'm for it. But it wasn't from a source that I find reputable. So, and I just was also not in a let me dig and find out more information. I was very much in the okay, this could be interesting. I'm gonna This is going to be a tab in my brain that I will have like, hey, if you see more on this, file that away. But let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on the first installment of FNaF and the cinematic universe. What do we got? What are our thoughts on this? Lisa, why don't you start?
I actually enjoyed the movie. It was fun. It introduced me to a whole new world of horror video games. Unfortunately, I can't play them. But I really love the animatronics. I really love the special effects. Just the practical of everything and the atmosphere of it. It made me want more. And it was a nice introduction. So, and I want the cupcake. So I'm probably going to order one of those cupcakes to have in my room.
Right? I love the cupcake.
The cupcake. And I know for a fact that it actually flew. So they had like a little thing inside it. Because I was looking up how it was made. So it actually was flying around. So I'm like, that's cool. I need to make mine fly. But anyway, I'm babbling. I will give it an 8 out of, oh my God, I just went blank.
5 skulls is the most, 1 skull is the least.
I know. I don't know why I was saying 8. I will give it a 4.5 out of 5 skulls because I didn't think it was scary. It was just fun. And the animatronics were gorgeous.
Rock on, rock on. Karen, how about you?
Well, it's a fun game. Not a fun game. It's a fun movie to watch. I don't know why I said fun game. I haven't even played the game because I don't have the system to play the game, but I do have the system to watch the movies. It's a fun movie to watch. I enjoy it. It's not as horrifying as, it could be. You get that whole sense of, creepiness because you're in a kid's playhouse pizzeria thing that is creepy and should be torn down, or unless you get tetanus and lockjaw and get sued. I really do like the little cupcake thing, Mr. Cupcake. I want one.
The cupcake is just so adorable.
It is so adorable.
Oh, right.
Even when it's got the angry eyes.
Yeah, angry eyes. I'm gonna see if I could crochet that. I want to learn how to crochet that. If I can figure out how to crochet that, man, I'm making everybody one of those. I love the animatronics. I love the fact that they kept it real. Very few CG effects because sometimes CG just takes the whole. You can spot it, and you're like, oh. So I give it a 4. The only reason why I gave it a 4 is because I had no emotional connection to any of the actors, the characters. And I was like, oh, I mean, I enjoyed Abby because I'm like, oh, that's my little niece. I could, babysit her. But yeah, I give it a 4.
So for Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think it's an incredibly enjoyable movie. It does make you want to watch more because you want to know more information. So there's the anticipation for this next film. Could it be better? Absolutely. The emotional connection, like you were saying, Karen, but they put so much work and mind information into kind of trying to figure out how to make these creatures come alive. And just listening to an interview with the 3 individuals who wore the animatronic suits, they said most of what we did was long before they even started going through and filming. We had to do so much prep work. 1, to get used to the suits, 2, to make sure our motions worked correctly with the suits. And they just kind of went into it, and they're like, yeah, I want to say they said it was over 6 months that they were in work to make sure that what they did in those suits came out the way they wanted it to in the film. And those suits weren't light. They were actually quite heavy. They could only do, I think the rule on set was 15 minutes at most in those suits with the heads on at a time. And there was even a couple of times where they said, hey, this has to be our last take on this because physically we cannot keep going. And it's okay, that's the determination and the effort put into this film, it's there. I can't wait for the next one. So, our lovely little ghouls, who is your favorite animatronic? Some people say Chica, some people say Freddy, some people love Foxy. I love Foxy, but the cupcake is my favorite. and are you excited to see FNaF or Five Nights at Freddy 2, December 5th, 2025? And do you guys want us to do like an immediate review on that one? Let us know. We would like to hear. Hit us up on all of our social medias. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, Blue Sky, and I think that's it. Oh, and our Facebook group. Like, come, join us. We have a blasty blast. I also try to be consistent and posting some like fun horror news stuff all the time through our Facebook stuff. So please make sure you come and check us out. You can also subscribe and rate us. And on some of the platforms, you can even leave comments, which we do read and we love. But come rate and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, such as Apple, Google, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. We do answer back. I promise we answer back in the comments. Ladies, where can they follow you and continue having fun chit chats? Lisa?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram and Threads for now.
Alrighty. Karen, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit.
Alrighty. And I am Shannon. You can find me on all the things at Spill Tea Wine Media Mind. And before we go, like always, we just want to give you guys a big thank you for everything you guys do to support us here on Earth Station Boo. We really do appreciate your support. Every like, every share, every comment means the world to us. So thank you so, so much. And stay spooky, our lovely little ghouls.
And this has been the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.